The Valley Season 2, Episode 13 is what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be roasting it, recapping it, reacting to it, doing what we do over here. So grab a beverage. Hopefully you're wearing something very comfy. Smash that like, and let's get this party started.
If you like what you see, come and get it with me. I know you deserve all you want. Your heart's made of gold, but don't wait till you're old. If you want it, I get you some.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Stand-up comedian, pop culture vulture, and sometimes Bravo television superfan, Joleen Lunzer here for another breakdown of this season of The Valley. We are going to be talking about The Valley Season 2, Episode 13. Tonight, we have the newest episode of The Valley airing in just a few hours here for me on the West Coast. And I'll do a roast and reaction to that later this week. But happy Tuesday, you guys. I hope you're having a wonderful week thus far. So good to have you here in the live chat. Make sure you smash that like. Also hit that subscribe. I am very happy to announce that we hit 45,000 subscribers. We did it. So we're on our way to 50,000. Hopefully, I'm hoping we can hit 50,000 by the end of this Big Brother 27 season, but we'll see. But thank you to all of you who have subscribed, whether you're new, whether you've been around for a while. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you guys so very much, and I am very excited to hit this milestone. I feel like we just hit 40,000, so now that we're already at 45 and we're surpassing 40, we're just like going. We are forward motion. So thank you guys so much. I really, really, really appreciate it. So smash that like, hit that subscribe if you haven't already, share my channel with your friends. You know what we do over here. We take a comedic look at the television shows and pop culture and reality that we discuss. I am very opinionated, but that doesn't mean you have to have the same opinion. You're welcome to sound off in the live chat or the comment section, and we can agree to disagree.
That's my opinion!
It's just my opinion. All right. And remember, everything I say is true, except for the parts that are false. Everything is alleged and for entertainment purposes only.
Allegedly.
But also remember, people that you probably don't like think I'm excellent.
I heard actually mixed reviews on Joleen.
Oh, Joleen was excellent. What are they saying?
Thank you. Thank you for saying I'm excellent. If you want to support the channel further, you can become a member. Like Chick Benny has been a member for 17 months. Thank you so much, Chick Benny. And thank you for the congratulations on hitting 45K subscribers. I feel so happy. That was a goal. And I was like, I want it to match at least this year. Match my age with my shoes. No, with my subscriber. Because I'm 45,000 years old. Allegedly. But you can join the membership if one of my mods doesn't mind dropping the link. Thank you. Evelyn's already on it. My mods are the best. They're on it. Or you can sign up for my Patreon if you prefer Patreon, where you can get bonus content, or you can send a super chat while we're live. You know the drill. All right. So let's get into it. I want you guys to sound off in the live chat about this most recent episode of The Valley. So they are still in the Hawaii. All right. And we are on episode 13. I think the Valley finale is on July 22nd. So we have just a few episodes until the finale, and then the reunion, and then this season that has been something, all right, will come to a conclusion. But episode 13 is the Cruise from Hell episode. And their description that they have here online is Jack spoils Kristen and Luke's engagement after Brittany inadvertently reveals the news to him. Kristen and Zack are fed up with Brittany always choosing Janet over them. All hell breaks loose when Janet and Kristen reach their breaking points. Now we know Janet has since fled the country. No, she hasn't. She just went on a trip. But apparently, you know, people are not happy with Janet, so she's receiving quite the online hate, according to her. And again, I say, put that towards Jax. You don't have to like Janet, but let's just keep the hate toward Jax or toward one of his many alleged aliases. All right. Which is, what was that guy's name? Drummond? Whatever his newest one is. I think he has a new social media, a new like Instagram, Finsta, if you will. And I think it's like Justice for Jaxtaylor. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I am so embarrassed for this guy. Like, what a fucking dork. Elizabeth, thank you for the super chat. Elizabeth says, congrats, Jolene. Quick question. Did you notice they took the Valley after show off? I was looking for it. I was able to find some clips because I really wanted to watch the after show after I watched this episode last week, and I couldn't find it on Peacock. So yes, I did notice that, Elizabeth. I thought that was really sus, but I was able to find it on YouTube. So, what's going on? What's happening? What? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. This season has just been an abomination until they get rid of Jaxtaylor and realize that the fans don't want to watch an abusive, narcissistic asshole continue his abuse. I don't know what to do. All right. So they're still in Hawaii. Luke and Kristen just got engaged. We know Zack was a part of it, and Danny and Nia, aka Nia and Polly Pocket. And so they're celebrating Luke proposing to Kristen, which is supposed to be a fun thing. But Brittany, aka Bear Chase, is like, how come I wasn't involved in it? Why didn't I know I'm her best friend? And I am giving Brittany so much grace because of what she's going through. But this episode made me see the Brittany that I didn't like. Because you know me, I wasn't really a Jax and Brittany fan. And then when Brittany, when she finally announced that she was leaving Jax and we learned about all the abuse and things, I was like, I don't care. I am pro beer cheese because I want her to get out. Jax is a monster. But we do see in this episode signs of that Brittany that isn't that sweet, lovely, likable, because I feel like they really, for season after season, it happened on Vanderpump too, they were trying to push this narrative to the fans like, Brittany's just the sweetest human being that ever existed. And it's like, she's human. And also like, she's with Jax. I can only imagine that being with a monster like him for as long as she was, a couple things rubbed off on her. All right. And choosing someone like that, I think there's a little bit of her that relates to some of Jax. Now, she's not close, not even close at all to the monster that Jax is. But this is, toward their last seasons on Vanderpump, I was just not into them at all. I was like, you can go, little girl. I think I even have that sound effect here. I just was not that one, but you know what I'm saying? I was not a fan at all. But again, bigger fish to fry with Jax, but watching Brittany and the way she reacted to Kristen's engagement and her not being involved was very telling, if you will. All right. So we know that Janet and her husband, whatever his name is, I can't remember, Jason. All right. It's Jason. They, mostly Janet, decided, I will not be going to this party to celebrate Kristen Doty. Instead, me and my husband will go to dinner. Now, Jason was hoping that they would go to the party the next night, which is the cruise from hell that we're going to talk about. And at first, Janet was like, I am going home. I am leaving and I'm going home. But we know she ended up changing her mind. It was also after she had a conversation with Zack, like, hey, maybe it's not the best idea for you to be here since you and Kristen like legit hate each other. So maybe don't show up. So they didn't attend. Instead, they went to dinner and had a couple awkward conversations. And then, okay, so we're at the engagement party. And it's held like on the hotel grounds outside. Luke did a lot of work, proposing. But Zack, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Zack has become one of my favorites.
It's inappropriate.
I feel like I was not Team Zack. You guys know I was not Team Zack at all. Yeah, I wouldn't even do that to Canada. Ben says, send Jax to Canada. I wouldn't do that to Canada. Show our wonderful Canadian friends. I wouldn't subject them. Send Jax to hell where he came from. All right.
The patriarchy.
But Zack is becoming one of my faves. And he worked really hard. on these little after parties for Kristen and Luke to celebrate them and to set this up. And the whole reason they didn't include Britney in this is because they feared that Britney would tell Jax. And what did she end up doing? She ended up telling Jax. And we know Jax is the worst, and he's a gossip and an asshole and doesn't value anyone's anything or any privacy or any boundaries. But Britney was still, walking around like, what about me?
You guys, seriously, what about me?
Oh my gosh. So the party, it was nice. They were all, having some drinks, having some food. But again, I want to say these house guests because I'm so involved in Big Brother 27, but these friends, these Valley people, they hate each other. None of these people are friends. I don't know. Kristen, I feel like, really loves Danny and Nia, but other than that, I don't know if any of these people really are friends. Zack and Kristen are friends. I don't know. But they are so worried about where Nia and Danny are. Like, don't make me stick up for Danny and Nia. I love Nia. I think Nia is like the only sane voice on the show. I don't love Danny, but that's just me. That's how I am. Let's try to get to, who said 400, and let's get to, yes. If we get to 340 likes, Ben's going to block somebody. Let's do it. But Danny and Nia spent the afternoon with Kristen and Luke, and Luke for their proposal. They were on the boat. They helped set this up and the surprise. So they probably have to go back to their hotel room. Maybe they had to shower. They've been gone all day while the other friends, they got to just be in Hawaii doing their damn thing. But they're really worried. And Jasmine is really worried. And I'm like, Jasmine, I have my moments with Jasmine where I enjoy her. And then sometimes I'm like, you're doing too much. Both Brittany and Jasmine are like, where are they? Do you think he's drunk? Do you think he passed out? And I'm like, probably. Who cares? At this point, I don't care if Danny passes out drunk anymore. All right? There are so many evil people on this show. I don't even know what to do. So they're late. And Jasmine has the gall, the nerve to be like, we're here. Okay? I can't believe we're here. But Danny and Nia are not here. But we're here. And they're taking forever. Yeah, because they were doing shit to help with the proposal. What don't you understand about that? It's just so stupid, right, Mallory? Jasmine's doing a lot. It's too much. Stop. You and Brittany, it looks weird. I understand if you're still mad at Danny. Okay, I guess. But at this point, this was just so stupid to me. I watched this episode and it was just pissing me off. Because where are they? So late. Super. Oh, finally here. Finally here. Zack lets them know that people are annoyed by your tardiness. And Danny and Nia are like, guess we can't do anything right. Because these people just hate each other. All right. So the group immediately then is caught up in the drama of Danny and Nia being late. Even though Danny and Nia were literally on the fishing boat all day and helping set up the engagement for Kristen. And Nia was helping because remember, Kristen was like, I don't want to shower. She was like pits, tits, and ass. She was just going to do I know they call it a whore bath, which, okay, how about just a quick bath? Why is it got to be about the whores? You know what I mean? Include all of us, maybe. Okay. Kristen was like, I just need a rinse. I'm going on a boat. Big deal. We're going fishing. And Nia had to literally go to Kristen's room and say, let's do our makeup together. Let's look cute. Let's wash our vaginas. I think that's how I imagine that Nia was just like, hey, yeah, let's look pretty.
If I was ugly, would it make it better?
Because if you look ugly for your engagement, you're gonna be really mad. So Nia was there helping her out, doing this stuff. So they're busy. Oh my goodness. So we have this little party. Kristen and Luke soon retire, and they're like, we're going up to the freaking suite. Don't bother us.
That's cute. That's real
Okay.
cute. That's cute.
And
That's
we are
cute.
going to be
Real
getting
cute.
it on. We're going to be baby making, if you will.
Oh my God.
So then we see them up there, and they're like, let's shower and wash our genitals and get in bed. And I'm like, how romantic. Evelyn says it can be called a French bath, or Max says a bird bath. I like both of those. Oh my gosh. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So then, you know, everyone disperses and the party's over. And there was a point which really pissed me off with Brittany. She said something like, well, if they don't get here soon, I'm just gonna leave. You're gonna leave your best friend's engagement party because two of the friends are late? What? What's wrong with you? Why would you do that? It was just so stupid, you guys. I was like, what the f is she doing? Brittany, get it together. Then, you know, Kristen hasn't had time to tell her family, Kristen and Luke, because apparently Hawaii, I don't know the time difference. Apparently Hawaii is like 3 days ahead and everyone was sleeping where she was, or 6 hours behind. I don't know. Okay. I'm not going to learn things to watch The Valley. I'm not going to do it. So Kristen and Luke wake up in the morning and they're like, we haven't even told our parents. Now, I think this is, well, I guess if they were sleeping or if they're 4 days in the future or 3 days in the past, I don't know. I told my family right away when Chell and I decided to get married, my husband, Chell, RN, and I, but they're in Hawaii. We weren't in Hawaii. We were at Greenblatt's Deli in Los Angeles. So I guess it's a little different than being in Hawaii. But the next day they wake up, you know, fresh off their baby making engagement night. And Kristen gets a text from none other than frickin' the devil himself, Jaxtaylor. Jack's like, congratulations. It's me, Jax. I'm a freaking monster. And I'm like, ugh, shut up, Jax. Now, Kristen's like, how does Jax know? Well, again, because freaking Brittany told him. What, Brittany? I'm going to need, now I know she had this like, I've been married to him for a while. And it's hard. He's been my best friend for all these years. And it's hard for me to, you know, not tell him stuff. I'm sorry, what? No. This felt a little calculated. I'll be honest with you. This felt a little calculated. What do you guys think? Sound off in the chat. All right. Ben says, oh yeah, Hawaii is like 5 hours behind us Midwesterners. Damn, 5 hours. So people in Hawaii, they don't even know what's happening right now. I'm just kidding. You're taking this joke too far, Jolene, and it's not that funny. All right. Get over yourself.
This is bullshit.
Oh my God. Okay. So, so Kristen's like, why the frick would Brittany do that? Why is she telling Jax? She knows that Jax lives to spoil things. She knows that Jax a gossip. Jax not only texted Kristen, but he told the whole boys group chat. You know, the guys have that group chat. That Jason, I think, isn't included because he has an Android. Of course he does. No offense, all offense to Android users. But, you know, it was so ridiculous. So then Kristen decides, I need to talk to Brittany. I'm going to meet with her. So she meets with Brittany on the beach later. And Brittany's like, hey, girl, you're engaged. Bear chase. And Kristen confronts her like, Britt, why? You know Jax is a monster. Kristen is I feel like, I'm just going to say it, Brittany doesn't deserve Kristen. Kristen puts Brittany on this pedestal she doesn't deserve. I want the best for Brittany and Cruz, 100%. I think Jax is the devil, but I've thought this forever that some of these friends put Brittany on this platform, on this pedestal that she doesn't deserve. Kristen is a good friend to Brittany, and they allegedly have had intercourses before. Again, according to frickin' Jax, who outed that. He walked in on them. doing whatever they were doing. Okay. And I just feel like Kristen's always speaks so highly of Brittany. She's so supportive of her. And the least Brittany could do was not tell her monster of a soon-to-be ex-husband about this engagement. It's like the most basic, easiest thing to do. Right, Shirley? Brittany annoyed the shit out of me this episode. Believe me, I'm still, you go, girl. Get that man out of your life, out of your hair, down, take him down to hell. But I can't overlook that she was such a shitty friend. And I've kind of seen this behavior previously, which is why I wasn't the biggest Britney fan when everyone's like, she's housewife. I'm like, okay. All right. So Britney's apologizing. You know, she's, again, it's just, I just chatted with him for so long. And then their discussion pivots to Janet. Because Kristen wants to know, like, okay, you're out there telling my business to Jax, who's a monster. But I also want to know, like, why do you defend Janet? Why are you so good to Janet and not to me? So you'll defend Janet, but you won't defend me. You know, and Kristen expresses that she's tired of being the one that's blamed for all the drama when she's not creating it. And Brittany's like, I don't know, I've never seen that side of Janet before. Kristen's like, are there repercussions for Janet being like a complete psycho and causing drama all the time? So Brittany, I guess she has an epiphany and she realizes that she needs to stick up for her friends more, not just Janet, especially when, you know, it's pretty clear that it's uneven. All right. And maybe she could have said something during the dinner at El Coyote where Janet was yelling, even though Janet was like, I was not yelling. And Janet was yelling. She was definitely yelling. She wasn't screaming bloody murder like I think they described it, but she was definitely yelling. She was like, no, I wasn't. I was like, yeah, you were. Janet, you're not doing yourself any favors here, lady. Brittany's like, I feel caught in the middle. But if this was the shoe was on the other foot, Kristen has become, especially, you know, we watched her in her early 20s or, well, mid to late 20s, 30s, and now 40 years old. You know, she's evolved into this super, super loyal friend. Because I guess you could argue, hey, she wasn't the most loyal friend when she was banging, you know, her friend's boyfriend. But that was a long time ago. I've seen Kristen evolve into a very loyal friend. So if the shoe was on the other foot and it was Brittany versus Janet, Kristen would go down in a blaze of glory to protect Brittany. The same way we see Kristen go hard in the paint, basketball reference, for, I should say, Nia and Polly Pocket. Elizabeth, thank you for being a member for 11 months, says, I truly believe these episodes are extremely re-edited due to the Jax response. They had to pull and clip like former Trooper Higgins of Canton PD. So do you feel like they are re-edited to almost make others look bad? Is that what you're trying to say? Interesting, Elizabeth. I like where your brain's going. I just want to know. So, Kristen says you can be Kristen says you could be a shitty friend and be deserving of grace. I know, I do. This is like the first live. We're how many episodes in? 13 episodes in. This is the first like real criticism I've had of Brittany because I don't want to push too hard because I don't ever want anyone's foot off Jax's neck. And I don't want anyone to ever forget or Brittany's behavior to, you know, overshadow the abuse that she's received and us putting light on that. So Bravo fires Jax, but they still have, I can't believe that Bravo still hasn't fucking fired this dude. It's horrible. Oh, I see what you, okay, Elizabeth. Yes. All right. Yes. Elizabeth says her mannerisms were screaming Jax, I was left out. Yeah. Again, you can't be with someone, I think, that long in a monster like Jax and not have some of it rub off on you. So there is a certain unlearning that Brittany's going to have to go through. So I'll let that rest. Brittany says I'm sorry. And Kristen brings up that Janet, how she even got into their little friend group was because she was a fan of Vanderpumprules. Because Kristen has really been like, every chance she gets, she's like, "You're a fan, bitch."
They not like us. They not like us. They not like us.
Like, oh shit. Because Janet's like, yeah. Even when I did ultimately find the after show for this episode, Janet was like, I was a fan. I'm a millennial woman. So bravotv is like what, it's literally marketed toward millennial women. And I understand that. And I do agree with that. So it's not necessarily weird that she liked Vanderpump Rules. But this whole story, if you hear Kristen's version, it's, that it was very calculated that Janet showed up to this pool party that Sheena was at and then befriended Sheena, got into the group, and then ultimately got on the Valley. But when Sheena and Janet tell the story, Sheena says, I wasn't even planning on being at this party. No one knew I was going to this party. It was back when she was still with Rob, when she was like, he can hang a television set in 7 seconds or something. And we're like, oh my God, Sheena, we're so embarrassed for you. Remember the Rob years? Oh God. And that Rob and her were struggling. And I think one of them had just got off a flight or something. And he said, let's just not talk about our issues. Let's go to this pool party and go get drunk. And she was like, okay. And that's where she met Janet. And Sheena, if you've ever met Sheena in real life, which I have, Sheena is so likable in real life. Like she is very friendly, very cordial, very, she is definitely an extrovert. She makes you feel nice and special. I think that is one of Sheena's gifts. And, I think some of that is probably who she is genuinely. And also some of that is calculated when you've been in the business as long as you have and getting people, kind of on your side. And also this like want for people to like you, especially when you look at Sheena, she tends to have friendships with like bloggers and people who cover the show. And I happened to meet her at an event where I was performing. So, but she was very nice to me. So, but I think that it doesn't surprise me. I guess my point is that Sheena would befriend Janet because it seems like Sheena befriends everybody. She's like, okay, let's befriend. And she brings a lot of people into the group. So there's 2 different versions. Kristen and them will have you believe that Janet stalked Sheena, knew she was going to be there, and then because she was such a fan. And then Sheena and Janet's version is Sheena's like, nobody knew I was going to be there. But I don't know. It's who knows? I mean, Sheena posts a lot on social media, and that was a while ago, but you could have figured out she was there, I guess. But either way, Janet has already admitted that she's a fan. And Kristen's like, you're a fan, but bitch, this is my show. Okay.
Bling, bling, bling. Bitches is mad.
You guys are killing me in the chat. You're killing me. Mimir says, they say Ted Bundy was very charming too. And he was. That's what they do say that. Oh my gosh. Oh, Lordy. Lordy. That is something they do say about quite a few of the serial killers.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You guys, Fanet. Yeah, the fact that a lot of the fans have named her Fanet instead of Janet. Oh, Mallory says Janet actually tells the story and says her friend knew Sheena, and that's how they were invited to the same pool party. Who knows at this point? I know on the after show, Sheena was like, no one could possibly know I was there. Me and Rob, I love Rob. Rob, what an asshole he was. We went there last minute, so okay. Okay, girl. But yeah, Mallory, who knows? At this point, I don't know. So, Kristen brings this whole thing up, and Janet has admitted to it. And then we see that Janet and Jason are kind of in their hotel by themselves, and they're in their hotel room. And this is even the night of like the engagement party. So to just backtrack a little bit, they're away from everyone. They're in bed. They're doing married people shit, like laying in bed, watching shows. You can tell Jason is just itching to go party or something. And Janet wants to stay in bed. However, their room is connected to a living room area where everyone except for Kristen and Luke, who are doing it, go to, you know, drink and hang out. And they're like, Janet, get over here. And they don't, Janet's still wondering, like, do I stay or do I go? Should I leave Hawaii? She feels really uncomfortable, she said, being in Hawaii celebrating Kristen's big moment since they're on such awful terms. And I get it in a way, because if me and the person, it's just weird that they're all in a friend group, but if me and I'm on a group trip and one of the people, it ends up being like an engagement trip for them and they hate me and I hate them, I'd feel weird too. But like, you could have fixed this a while ago. Either way, she's wondering what they should do. And she doesn't ultimately go and hang out with the group in the little common area, which it's like, I think Nia and Danny, I don't think they were there either. All right. Then we have to get a segment from Jax. And I'm like, why? So we know Jax has now let everyone know about Kristen's engagement, sent it to the boys text. Who knows who else he told? Kristen hasn't told anyone. Brittany's like, I told him not to say nothing. And of course he's going to say something. And then we see, you know, him living his single, I don't want to say single dad because he doesn't do anything for the damn kid, allegedly. So just living his single life next to Schwartz. Schwartz comes over and he's like, did you hear Kristen's engaged? Schwartz like, oh my God. Even Schwartz has the wherewithal, like, to say, well, has she put on social media yet? Well, then I'm not going to congratulate her. Jax is like, I did. Because Jax is just, he's a fucking monster. He's like the worst human. He sucks. And then he feeds us this bullshit line. And I hate that the producers, that Alex Baskin-Robbins and whatever is nuts, what's the other guy? Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog, are allowing. This is why we have to stay on Jax's neck and stay on Bravo's neck, because they will allow Jax to continue to not only gaslight and abuse Britney, but think he can gaslight and kind of abuse the audience. Like, we're going to believe you, sir. As he's saying, do you think it's a good idea for, maybe I was thinking that, you know, I shouldn't go through with this divorce. What? Maybe I should reconsider. You can't, she's leaving you, bro. She got the papers together against, you don't have a choice. And also, you don't really want to be married to this woman. You treat her like shit. You're just saying that as like a way to pretend that you care and that you're a family man. You've already had intercourses with so many large totted women. You know, you've already done the worst things, and you really think we're going to believe that you are like, oh, maybe I should stay married to. You treated Britney like absolute garbage. You haven't been a present parent. And especially after your son's autism diagnosis, according to Britney. So we don't believe this, but he's still trying to gaslight and still trying to push forth this false narrative that he gives a shit about anyone but himself and his dick. Like, that's all the dude freaking cares about. That's the truth, you know? So we have this stupid scene, which, save it. No, thank you. And Schwartz says, no, you definitely need to go through with the divorce. And he makes a comment, and I don't remember exactly what he said, the exact words, but to paraphrase, he basically was like, if you don't get out of this marriage, like someone's going to end up hurt, or someone's going to end up dead. And I was like, what? Yeah, that's what we're afraid of. And the fact that Schwartz is saying this is another reason why Bravo is so irresponsible in allowing Jax a platform to spew his lies and to gaslight and continue to abuse Britney. Because that's what we're worried about. That Jax is going to be that Dateline husband and that Brittany and Cruz are not safe.
In every generation, there is a chosen one. She alone will stand against the vampires, the demons, and the forces of darkness. She is the Slayer.
It's terrifying. It's terrifying. Yeah, the delulu of a narcissist. But it's so calculated. He knows what he's doing. Yes, Bonnie, master gaslighter equals Jax. Very scary. Very, very, very. Oh my gosh. Mallory says Schwartz said if they move back into the Jax would end up in jail. That's what it is. And I'm like, I wonder why. Why would he end up in jail? Because he's an abusive asshole? Is that why? Because he's controlling and crazy and unsafe? Yeah, Jack's like, I know. It's so funny. It's not funny, Alex Baskin-Robbins and Jeremiah was a bullfrog. Can we get some women working on this damn show? Because these men sure as hell don't give a shit. They've proven to us with Vanderpumprules and now with the Valley that they don't care about the safety of the women. They don't care. All they want to do is revamp the images of the toxic dude bros. Of the, Sandy Butts, the Jaxtaylor Devils, Schwartz. It's all they care about. They don't give a shit. And it just ruins the shows. But clearly I have, not that I have like a strong opinion about this, you guys. Okay? Not that I care.
We do not care.
Oh, Lordy. So, then they're on the last day of their Maui, vacation, Kristen and Luke's engagement trip, and the entire friend group, we'll put that in parentheses, is going to go on a cruise. And it's the cruise from freaking hell. All right. Kristen and Janet have been staying far away from each other. And even early on, when they get on this cruise, they're not by each other. And it's, I'm sure it's awkward. Maybe they would have benefited from actually going home. Maybe the whole trip would, but I guess you wouldn't have the drama, So Michelle and Janet are talking about the situation with this Jenna, who's also Lala's trainer, who I think entered the group again through Sheena, who used to date Aaron, Michelle's crazy-eyed new boyfriend. And they're talking about, how they came into the group. Zack is saying it's Janet and Sheena, and maybe Janet's like, nah, it's me. But so they want to talk to Zack about it. All right. And Zack's like, Kristen, you want to come over with me? They want to talk to me, and it would be helpful if you came over. And Kristen's like, okay. So Kristen goes over there. So it's Michelle, Janet, Zack, and Kristen. And we got the dark skies, the dark waters, and the dark former friends. That's just the evil, the anger is brewing, and the tension and all of that. So they start to talk about Jenna. However, then they start talking about, the elephant on the boat, which is Kristen and Janet hate each other. And Janet is like, well, yeah, I'm not friends with you, Kristen, because you started a rumor about my husband. They took his ring off. And Kristen's like, what are you talking about? We squashed that at Britney's shark party. You said you forgave me, that it was confused, that, that it was over. So I'm confused why, we were laughing, and I thought we moved on from that. Why are you still upset about it? And you said it was so ridiculous. And I only did that because you were going after Danny and Nia's marriage, and I wanted to stick up for them. So it was just something I heard. But Janet's like, I'm never going to forget. I'm never going to forget that you put that rumor out about my husband, Jason, taking off his wedding ring when he goes out. And so far, I haven't really heard anyone confirm it besides Ariana's weird brother. Did you guys see that? Ariana's, whatever, Jeremy. I don't know if they're still estranged, but he's a freaking weirdo. And I guess he wanted some friggin' relevancy or something. He was clout chasing. And he was like, it's true. I'm thinking, bro, do you really think we can trust anything you say? You stayed friends with Tom Sandybutt after how he treated your sister. You somehow had some beef with your sister when she was going through a hard time in her life and a breakup. So you can fuck off.
He has victim blamed me 100% of the way. So I don't believe anything that just came out of his mouth. I think he's full of shit. And he can fuck off.
He's weird. So whatever. So Kristen brings up, that again, that Janet kept going after Danny and Nia and their marriage. And especially, bringing up Danny having a drinking problem and how he's inappropriate when he's intoxicated. And then Janet is basically like, well, Danny did, when he was drunk, he did sexually assault Jasmine. What? Now, Janet was like, the legal definition is he touched someone in a sexual way, being we touched Jasmine's knee. It was like, give me a drink, baby, or whatever, for daddy, or whatever he said. And then he also slapped Jasmine's fiance's ass. And it's like any unwanted contact with someone in a sexual way is sexual assault. But let's look up the definition. But Kristen was ignited. So sexual assault happens when someone either touches another person in a sexual manner without consent or makes another person touch them in a sexual manner without consent. It includes unwanted kissing and the touching of someone's genitalia, their breasts, or their bottom. So, I mean, as much as everyone hates Janet, she's not wrong. I know that's an unpopular opinion. People will go, screw you, Joleen. But she's not wrong when she says that. I think people are looking at it. What are Janet's intentions? Is she exploiting this situation for her own gain or to villainize them? Mainly Danny. I think the audience is looking at it like Janet. This is just, feel free to correct me on how you feel about it. But I feel like the audience is looking at it like they feel as though Janet is weaponizing it. And it isn't coming from necessarily a place of like, I'm genuinely worried about this man and him drinking. That's what it seems like to me. It seems like people are thinking that Janet is using this as just a way to kind of target Danny and Nia. So, and like Amanda says, that's a great point. It is for Jasmine to speak on and not Janet. I will say, if you have behavior like this and it happens in a friend group and other women are around, other women are going to have opinions about this, and they're going to wonder, or worry, but then Janet takes it a bit further and says, this isn't the first time, because we know this isn't the first time Danny has acted, according to them and according to us just watching the first season, poorly for lack of a better word, I guess, while intoxicated. Danny, in my opinion, should probably get sober. It would make his life and Nia's life a lot easier, but that's not my call to make. So, but Janet says, not only does he act badly and had this situation where she said he sexually assaulted Melissa and Jasmine, but this isn't the first time. He's done this and made women feel uncomfortable. There you go, Missy. I think a lot of people feel this way. Like Missy saying they feel like Janet is not genuine when it comes to this situation. So I think that's why people are not maybe responding or not, they're calling Janet out for how she keeps bringing this up. So now we hear the story where Janet says the guys were out, and apparently we cut to another scene where her and her friend, Jared, I think his name is her gay bestie. And I guess her gay bestie has a gay bestie clash with Zack. Zack's like, no, I do not like Jared. Okay? That's Janet's gay bestie. But it's a Kristen's gay bestie. Zack is like, So it's like a gay bestie fight over here. And she said they were out and about. She wasn't there. But apparently, allegedly, Danny was being inappropriate with women. There were fans that came up to him. I don't know if it was at Jax's bar or where, because it's still, the story changes. And she said, Jason, my husband, had to tell him, like pull him away and say, you're married. You have a child or children, 3 under 3, now 4 under 4. And you need to get it together. And according to Janet, he was making these women feel uncomfortable. However, then Jason, when we hear from Jason on not only the episode, but definitely the after show, Jason says, oh no, I didn't see him. I'm so confused. It's like Janet says, Jason saw him do this. Jason saw him be inappropriate. Jason confronted him. Jason's like, no, I called him the next day, but I heard he did this. I didn't see this. What? This is pretty serious. That's like, well, did Jason witness it? Did he witness him being inappropriate? Did he have to pull him away? Or did he hear from Jared or something? The story keeps changing. And what I didn't like what Janet did is if you watch the after show for this episode, even after Jason corrected her, I believe on the episode, saying, well, I didn't see it. I think that's what it is. I didn't necessarily, I heard he said the things and did the things. Janet in the after show says, yes, and my husband, Jason, she repeated the thing that Jason said. No, that's not true. And I'm like, what? Why? Why are you still saying that Jason witnessed all of this when Jason himself said, no, I didn't? And it seems so telephony at this point that why is she bringing this up? I mean, I guess not why is she bringing this up, but why are her facts incorrect? And when she's corrected, why is she still spreading a false narrative, the incorrect story, when her own husband's like, that's not how it went? She still doubled down on the after show and was like, that's how it went. What? Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Connie says, Jared was in an interview I just watched, and he said Danny said that to him about, it was the skirts thing. So he's like, yeah, I love Nia and she'll always be my number one, but I'm weak, or I'm a sucker for a girl in a short skirt.
Oh my God.
Now, Janet was like, yeah, Jason heard it. Jason saw it. And Jason's like, I didn't hear that. I didn't hear him say that. I heard he said that. So it's like, at this point, it just looks really bad with the story not adding up, and where it looks like Janet is just continuing to add things that aren't true to the story, like Jason's witnessing it and hearing it, when Jason's like, oh no, Janet doubles down on the after show then and is like, yeah, what? Okay, so this Jared friend said Danny said that to him about the skirts and asked the men to have him leave. Yes, it's too sloppy. It's too sloppy. It wouldn't surprise me if drunk Danny says these things, but it's making it hard for people to believe, or when Janet is just adding shit that isn't true, that her own husband again is like, it's not true. Elizabeth says, I think drunk Danny speaks the way he was spoken to in the industry as a young child. That I don't know. Janet and Jason clearly didn't compare notes. But even when Jason said, no, that's not how it went, Janet still was like, that's how it went. Now, maybe, no, the after show would have been filmed after they filmed that episode. So she knows that her husband said, oh, no, that's not how it went. Bonnie saying Janet has proved she has a total agenda. So she canceled herself out completely. It sucks because issues like this regarding, sexual assault, harassment of women, these are things that shouldn't just be used and weaponized. This is serious shit. And for her to not be telling necessarily the whole truth about it, and then even when corrected, continues to tell the version that's not true, that's not good. That's not good. And Kerber says, I doubt he said that to Jared. That's the thing. It's a lot of telephone. We know Danny is not a good, I wouldn't want to be married to Danny. If I was Nia, I would be like, listen, you need to sober up, sir. That's just how it would be. I feel like Danny's drinking is only putting Nia in situations. And this is even before Janet started commenting on it or Jasmine started opening up. We saw this in season 1. You can tell by Nia's face. You can just tell that this is something she has to deal with. It's like she's caring for, 5 kids sometimes. And I'm sure that is exhausting and frustrating for Nia. So if he wanted to ever do his wife the ultimate solid and favor, and also himself, just quit drinking. Get sober. Brian says Janet is working her way back into being a fan and watching The Valley from her living room. I mean, yeah. Care Bear says Jared is one of Janet's minions. Well, we know Zach doesn't like him. I remember Jared because he kind of called out Sandoval during Scandival, because Jared had went through cancer and I believe is now in remission. So blessed be, yay. And Jared was saying how Tom Sandoval sucked, and Ariana was always there for him because the cast would have lots of like benefits and things for Jared, and a lot of them seemed very supportive, but he was like, Tom Sandoval is not. He's fake, and just everything we already knew about Tom Sandy. But Kristen says we should be speaking about these things on Bravo, but her leading a Swiss cheese narrative and being so selective about who is a disappointment is awful and not helpful to the cause. Well, also, it doesn't help that Janet and not Jared, Janet and Jason are friends with Jax, and that they seem to kind of buy some of his bullshit, so that's not good. Yeah. It's like, how can you stand against Danny, but you guys are being so understanding of Jax? You should hold the same standard to both. And it doesn't appear that they are, because there are times that I agree with the things they say, but then I'm like, but you're out there like, befriending Jax and, letting him tell it's not true. He's a liar. I know you guys hung out a bunch during the pandemic, but he's trash. And Janet, if you can see the faults in Danny, surely you can see the faults in Jax. Stacy says they won't even be dragged in the reunion because they filmed. Oh, that's so true. That sucks. They filmed it so early. Yeah, they filmed the reunion so freaking early, which was dumb, but I think they did that because Kristen and Nia were pregnant and they were about to get, I don't know why they did it. I don't know why Bravo's doing anything they're doing right now. Oh, Blaine says, oh, I'm late, but you're here. So you're right on time. Yes, sweet. See, it looks like you're glossing over the DV and exploiting the essay. It does appear like that. Evelyn says, yeah, being on Jax's side and going so hard on Danny seems incongruous. Oh, is that a new word that I don't even know? Evelyn, you're so smart. Incongruous. Incongruation. Okay, we're just going to pretend I knew how to say that word. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Like they should all ice him out. Right, Mac? Ice his ass out. Dreadful Ruby says Jax isn't even a tiny bit like, not even the tiniest bit likable. Even if he weren't the worst guy ever, his day-to-day personality, trash. So Kristen storms off and she's like, I can't believe you would say that. I can't believe you're now saying Danny is essay. Like, this is what is going on. And then she's like whispering to Jason, she said Danny essayed. And then apparently Jasmine was seasick. So Melissa had to step up, and we don't hear a ton from Melissa, but she was like, nobody should be talking about anything me and Jasmine went through except for me and Jasmine. And Jasmine's just like, I'm going to barf. Oh, God. And then Danny is like, I'm going to go over there and talk to them. Nia says, I'm going to come with you. So they go over and kind of confront Janet on what she's saying. And now about saying that Danny is, has sexually assaulted Jasmine and Michelle during the Halloween party. So everybody's very triggered. And Danny, is like, I've apologized. Jasmine has accepted my apology, blah, 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 blah. Melissa did too. We had multiple conversations. Oh my gosh. Kristen is still furious. She's like, this can ruin reputations. This can ruin his life. Now she's talking about this second incident, that it's him being inappropriate. And it's not necessarily, does she have all the facts straight? She's kind of saying things that aren't true, even after her husband is like, that's not how it went. So Danny wants to, confront them about what he supposedly said. And Jason, again, is just like, oh, I didn't hear Danny say those things. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm exhausted. So Nia's there. They have their confrontation. Luke gets in it. Kristen ultimately threatens Janet. Like, I kick your ass. Like, you're a fan. You're a fan, bitch. And then Janet just starts saying, that's why they call her Crazy Kristen. And they don't call me Crazy Janet. Yeah, Bonnie saying Janet is telling away Melissa and Jasmine's agency. Gross. NYC says Jax, Janet, and Brittany are all fighting their jealousy of Nia because she has something they never can. Grace, class, soul, not fueled by the cocoa and darkness. Evelyn says Janet is misguided if she thinks this stuff is good for TV. Yeah, it's definitely not. Dreadful says his reputation is actually stellar, and that's the most disturbing part. We can't lower a bar that's already in hell because Jax is on the cast. Jax is just the fucking worst. Yeah, Kristen was going off on Janet. So, and then Brittany's like, guys, after she has this conversation with Kristen, where Kristen's like, can you stick up for me? Brittany's like, calm down, guys. Bear Chase, calm down. Brian says Janet should have said, I'm not just a fan. I'm an entire air conditioner, biatch. That's actually a good line. That should be her housewives tagline. I'm not just a fan. I'm an entire air conditioner, biatch. Oh, goodness. Yeah, Britt did nothing. But yeah. Amanda says the two women involved had to ask, everyone to keep them out of it. They're like, can you shut up about it? We don't want to talk about it. Like there is now is the time that it looks as though Janet's weaponizing it. Even the two women it happened to are like, that's enough. Thank you. That's enough. Oh my gosh. Oh, I've seen this said by a lot of people. Dreadful says Janet is like Jax in personality department. Nothing redeemable. Oh, damn. I don't know if I'm ready to go that far with it. You guys will probably end up being right. But you're definitely not the first person I've heard that from. People have compared Janet to Jax and his personality and possibly narcissism. So Evelyn says, I now don't even like Jason anymore. Yeah, it's a mess. We have a couple episodes left. Stacy says Brittany just hasn't had. Yes, Stacy, that's it. Ding, ding, ding. Stacy wins. Brittany just hasn't had Janet turn on her yet. Just wait until Janet weaponizes something against Brittany. It'll happen eventually. Angela says Janet keeps festering the Kristen issue. Kristen thought it was squashed because Janet acted like it was until she was talking shit behind her back. Well, apparently, according to Kristen, they were really good friends. And Kristen, like Janet says, was one of like 3 people involved in her engagement when she got engaged to Jason. And then Kristen said once the show happened, the first season, she saw a different side of Janet she didn't like. And that Janet was trying to, have her reality TV career take off while using Kristen, while putting her down, while betraying her in order to, have a storyline or something. I think that's kind of where we're at now. And tell us how you really feel, guys. Linda says, we need to thank Sheena for this loser. Loser being Janet.
They not like us. They not like us. They not like us.
Well, according to the after show, Janet and Sheena are besties for the resties. And they are not. That is not stopping. Yeah, damn it, Janet. Anna says, I think Janet is probably fine in real life, but she has this way of playing it up for the camera that just feels gross. I could see that 100%. Yes. Angela says also, what does Michelle think regarding Kristen when she watches these episodes and see all these others are responsible for bringing Aaron's ex fling around? Yeah, because they can't blame Kristen for everything. They can't blame Zack for everything. I wonder what she does think. We didn't get too much from Jesse. Jesse was sitting back being drunk, being like, this is great. Because, these problematic dudes, they love it when the attention's on other people. So we'll see what happens in tonight's episode. Max says, can I just say that it's incredible how many bad decisions can Sheena make? Oh my God, I saw the latest where Brock, in Sheena's book that's coming out soon, an excerpt came out. Because remember, Sheena's like, I'm spilling all the tea. And apparently Brock cheated on her while she was pregnant. I just fucking can't. There are very few things that's worse than a man betraying a woman while she's carrying their, his child. However, a lot of people have pointed out online, like the signs were there. Okay, he's got 2 whole ass kids in Australia or New Zealand or some shit who have a different dad who he wasn't paying child support for a while, wasn't fathering, left to go to the US, and he had DV charges of his own with his first wife or the mother of his kids. I don't even remember if they were married, but probably. So the signs were there. And then I think I saw a clip. I got to do like a separate, deep dive into this. A separate little clip of Brock or Sheena explaining it, or maybe she explains it in her book, that Brock said he felt it was during the pandemic. She's pregnant. They're in San Diego, and he felt nervous and scared to be a dad again because he had failed the first time. So the only way to alleviate his fear and all the pressure he had of not being pregnant and just shooting up the club and making another baby was to go have sex with another woman. So now we know he's a cheater during the pandemic, and he couldn't support Sheena and their, unborn child, to the point where allegedly we found out in the last season of Vanderpumprules, or maybe, I don't know if we learned in season 10 or season 11, that freaking Tom Sandoval had to send Sheena money.
Have some remorse. Have some sensitivity.
I mean, it doesn't get worse than that. When freaking Tom Sandy Butt is sending money to help your family, but because you can't. What? Oh my gosh. And Sheena knew this and didn't share it. So it's just so many things went through my head when I saw this on how her and Lala were, that last season of Vanderpump, acting as though Ariana wasn't sharing everything about her life, going through Scandival, when they're sitting there with a huge ass secret like this and not sharing it on camera, but Ariana's being judged for not showing up and doing her job. And apparently Lala knew about this. Like, just garbage.
They not like us. They not like us. They not like us.
I know Ariana and Sheena will, or Ariana still is like, no, we're still kind of friends. But I really do hope she just says that. And I hope for Ariana's sake that she really never befriends either of these women ever again and keeps her distance, because they don't deserve Ariana's friendship.
Nothing happened. You did it.
Like, that's so fucking shitty. That what they did that last season of Vanderpump and calling Ariana out on some bullshit which wasn't even true, that she wasn't sharing everything and she wasn't showing up and doing her job, as they're literally, the producers and the rest of the cast are trying to create a redemption arc for Tom Sandybutt, like within a second of finding out about Scandival. They want to save him and then vilify Ariana because she was having success and putting up boundaries. Like, you guys suck. Like, it sucks so bad. So Ariana's killing it, though. She's doing so well as a host of Love Island. She is now hosting the Love Island Games, I think, right? I saw that she's hosting another Love Island spinoff, which I think it's the Games one, right? Or is it a new one? Either way, she's booked and busy. And then her and Andy Cohen are also co-hosting, I believe, the reunion for this season of Love Island. And Andy Cohen was singing her praises on what a great, fantastic host she is on Vanderpump and how she's just killing it. So, I mean, in the end, Ariana's winning, but like, Sheena especially was supposed to be her bestie. And she was holding all of this information and being a part of the take Ariana down and redeem Tom Sandoval and standing by Lala's hater ass. Ugh, it doesn't get much worse than that as far as friends go. Oh God. Oh God. Just gross. Just gross. Yeah. Oh, Bonnie, I forgot. There's so many things. Bonnie says, and remember when nasty Brock tried to lecture Ariana? I do. Then she schooled him on Grey Rock theory. Gross, Brock. Oh, yeah. Brock he's an idiot. He is an idiot. Friggin' disgusting. Mallory says, Brock wants to be on reality TV and get his 15 minutes. So if Sheena's going to air out his endless terrible choices, I'm here for it. She helped him pay off his fucking child support. These fucking cis males.
New thing is that, you know, as a cis male, did you say cyst? Raise your voice, yell, do whatever you feel entitled to do. But as a straight male, if I was a woman, I could do that. If I was a gay male, I could do that. But as a straight male, if I raise my voice, it's wrong.
These damn cis. I can't with them. And Alex Baskin-Robbins and Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog need to go bye-bye. We need to get some new producers if this show is going to go forward, and we need to fire Jax. Fire Alexander. What is his name? Sorry. Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog, Alex Baskin-Robbins, and Jax. Like, goodbye. You're not doing your job. Let's hire some women. All right. So that is my roast and recap of episode 13, and also a little bit of Sheena news and such. You guys are all beautiful pumpkin spice babies. Speaking of Sheena's book, I know we had talked about a couple months ago when we heard her book was coming out about possibly me doing a roast and reaction to her book. I won't be able to like sit here and read her book because I'm not going to like steal her property and take away from her bag. But I think we could have little excerpts and, we can talk about the things in her book. So if you guys are still interested in me roasting, reacting to her book when it is officially released, let me know, not in the chat now, but in the comment section after the video posts. And if we still have enough interest, then we'll just go forward and we'll do the Sheena book. I don't know how long it'll take us to get through it. I can't imagine it's going to be like a novel, it should be a pretty easy read. I think it'll probably be a painful read, I'm assuming. So if you guys want that, let me know when the video posts. So after this video, make sure you head right over to the comments and let me know if you want me to roast and react to Sheena's new book. And it can be kind of like a little book club for us. And if you're not interested, let me know that too. Book club, Kristen says, but we just borrow it from the library. You can do that too. You can just check it out. Check it out from the library. All right, you guys, I'm going to be back later tonight. If you are my Big Brother peeps as well, doing a live feed. Spoilers, lots going on in the Big Brother 27 house. Lots of things to roast and react to. But thank you so much for joining me. And later this week, I will, after I watch the new episode of The Valley, I'll be back to roast. We're going to get through this season. We're getting through it. We're getting through roasting this mess of a season. But I appreciate each and every one of you. Shout out to my super chatters today. Elizabeth, thank you so much. Chick Benny, thank you for being a member. And Elizabeth, thank you for being a member. And welcome my new members. And if you're interested in becoming a member, either on YouTube or on Patreon, links are in the description of this video. Make sure you follow me on social media. I'm starting to, post on the TikTok. We're getting to like almost 3,000 followers on the TikTok, which is great. So follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Joleen Lunzer, as we're just are working towards total world domination. That's my goal, is to I'm just going to take over the world with all of my beautiful pumpkin spice babies. So thank you guys so much. Smash that like on your way out. Don't forget to comment about the Sheena Book Club if you're down or not. And until next time, enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. Bye.